Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest, Series 11, Book 1, Elko, the Lord of the Sea. And it's great to be back in the game with Beast Quest after Series 10. What a great build-up that was, 10 series of awesomeness, building up with Malvel. There was some, side adventures with Serpio and Velmal, but, I liked how it all came to a good conclusion. The writer, Adam Blade, the author, he knew what he was doing, I'm sure he did. With this good, strong story, he had some side adventures, but he knew who the main villain was, and yeah. And of course, it must have been a popular series because it's made even more. And yeah, so Series 11, here we are with a start. And I want to say that, this is, I can't say much about this book by itself because there's not really any much ranking to go with it, because we're on the first one, but it is a very good starter, and let's get into reasons why it is. Time to go on with the story. Tom and friends are finishing up the funeral of Taladon, as he is taken to the Gallery of Tombs. Everyone was suffering grief, and of course Tom suffered the most. Freya and Eleanor helped soften his grief, but soon enough even Freya had to return back to Gwildor, as she was needed there. Tom was now the master of the beasts. I will point out he's wearing golden armor. Whether or not this is the golden armor, I'm not sure, even though it looks like it. Last time I remembered it had disappeared after Tom had beaten Malvel, but who knows, it might have been temporarily gone. But until I see this armor use some sort of special ability, to confirm, it's just golden armor to me. Anyway, Tom took his duties into account to respect his father, and asked what was his latest quest. However, Adro informed him that there weren't any quests left. Malvel is dead and his evil was gone, and there are no more peril, no much danger at all. Until they heard a loud crash in the distance. With Tom's shield shaking, Epos was in danger. Adro used his magic to see what was going on, and it appeared a new evil had begun. A woman was riding on Epos, stabbing her, and was taking blood from her. Once she had what she needed, she didn't finish off Epos, but leaped off, teleporting away. Adro looked shocked as he recognized this woman. Adro explained she is Kensa, a sorceress from another mysterious kingdom that Adro knew very little about, called Hencral. Tom used his red jewel to put it near Epos's token to try and communicate, to get some answers. Luckily, Epos was able to tell Tom she was stealing blood from her. With this knowledge, Tom knew they had to go to Hencral and stop her. She obviously was planning to use the good beast's blood for some evil scheme. Adro explained more about Kensa, how she was once an Avantian until she was banished to her, she was banished because of her evil ways, and put into her own kingdom, put into her kingdom to not cause the people of Avantia any trouble. However, it would seem she has gained the power to now come back to Avantia whenever she pleases. Despite Tom's grief, he had this quest. It was the outlet he needed to gain back his confidence. Andrew told them they needed to take a lightning path to go to Hencral. And Tom insisted to not bring the animals as he didn't want to risk it. Then the golden armor returned back to the armored stand, but its power still worked even while off, as Tom was now master of the beasts. This chapter confirms that the golden armor is the actual golden armor. I guess it was waiting for him to be fully titled as the end of the last book. Our heroes were about to go on a new adventure. Adro told them to go as they were about to be struck by a bolt of lightning, because that's how they need to get there. Our heroes left the animal companions behind, took one of Adro's staff, and were teleported to Hencral. They were right at the edge of a cliff, backing away a bit, because that's where they arrived at Hencral at the edge of a cliff. Backing away a bit, Tom noticed Eleanor's hair sticking up, which made him laugh. Then, when Tom tried to pick up his sword, it jolted him too, to return on Eleanor's laugh. This is a good moment for our heroes, who have nothing but grief and sadness so far. It was nice to bring back the confidence with their happy selves. Anyway, Eleanor realized all of Tom's shield tokens were gone. They believed this was probably a result of Kensa's trying to take blood from the Avantia's good beasts. However, he now had no way of knowing how the good beasts are. Luckily, Tom still had the jeweled belt, plus his golden armor powers, which was still connected to him. Replacing the tokens was a map of Henkral. They assumed it was Adro trying to give them a map in some way. Now either Adro knew the tokens were gone and decided to put the map there, or it was a random choice by the spell and it just so happened to be the shield. Tom used his keen eyesight to see a town. They decided to go for it, but as soon enough made the wrong choice, scaling down the cliff. As soon as you think about it, Eleanor slipped and fell. Eleanor was saved by a winged man called Rawdon. He explained the people of Henkral all had wings, along with the majority of the animals. And with Eleanor now safe, they soon reached the town, and decided they needed to get some animals to aid them in their quest. Plus use for transport. After some scuffling, they soon reached a trader who told them he had 2 animals for sale, which our heroes' surprise were a wolf and a horse. Eleanor saying it was a sign. The wolf was a bit bigger than Silver, big enough to ride, while the horse was a bit nervous of getting Tom's attention. The trader told them, that their names are Tempest for the horse, and Sparks for the wolf. He explained that the animals' wings hadn't grown in, so their old owner gave them to him, since they had no wings. They were on sale for a cheap price of 3 gold coins. Of course, they paid for them, as they saw some potential in them. However, Tom did notice that the man whispered, "You'll need all the luck you can get." After leaving town, Tom and Eleanor soon lost control of their animals as they ran off a cliff, and both sprouted wings. Tom came to the conclusion that the trader didn't know about this, and they got flying animals for only 3 gold coins. It was a good first day in Henkral for our heroes so far. Tom was struggling with Tempest, but soon enough he managed to control him after passing some villages. They reached where the map was leading them to, a dark castle engulfed in the tip of a mountain. Then they slowly observed the building until a window caught their eye. A strange creature with stitches in his back, where his wings ought to be, and he had a weird hunchback posture, was in the room. Yeah, that creature was in that area. Then along came a woman. It was Kensa. She had gathered all the good beast blood from Avantia. She revealed 6 clay figurines and applied the blood while casting her spell. She explained how she planned to conquer Henkral, and her beast would take over the domain of this kingdom, as like other beasts had done in other kingdoms, and of course revenge against Adaro. So once they've taken over Henkral, they would go to Avantia to conquer that. However, Tempest moved his leg and it hit the window, and Kensa yelled, "Intruders!" Tom and Eleanor flew away. Soon enough, they were properly introduced to Igor, who used a flying boar as transport due to his wings being clipped. I wouldn't be surprised if Kensa cut them off. Anyway, Kensa realized it was Tom and told Igor to bring Tom's head bring Tom's head to her. After a scuffle with his chain, he then launched out several spike balls, which did hurt the animals, which made them have no choice but to retreat into the clouds to hide. This worked as Igor gave up and returned to the castle. When our heroes landed, they discovered that Tom's shield was glowing, and it seemed to be glowing where Sebron's token was. A name appeared, and it was Elko. They assumed it to be a beast, as the shield was now the map. The beast was near the sea, and since it had something to do with Sepron, it was clearly a sea beast. With their new animal companions, they took flight. They passed more natural land until they reached the ocean, with nothing there but waves of the ocean. And despite Tom using his keen eyesight, nothing was there but the distance of just more sea. And after a bit more scuffling in the air, they soon noticed the seaweed rising out of the ocean. It was the first beast, Elko. He even had seaweed that represented Seprons. Luckily, they were in the air and Elko couldn't get them up there. But after a bit of dodging, Elko coiled his seaweed around Eleanor, and after a few tugs pulled her off before Tom could make a rescue. Then Tom used his sword to help rescue Eleanor later on, and she soon rejoined Sparks. Tom then had a plan to cut Elko's legs, with Tom slicing one leg and Eleanor's arrows in the other. Elko lost his balance and fell into the ocean. Tom knew he wasn't done. Elko was reforming his body down there, and instead of coming back up, he was waiting for them. So Tom gave him what he wanted. He left his boots, and even though he didn't have Sepron's token to help him breathe, he used the power of the chainmail, which is strength of heart, to help him breathe longer. Tom went underwater and knew Elko had a field advantage. He could strike at any moment. However, Tom was attacked by some nibbling fish. He frightened them off, but they left some marks, causing him to bleed, which attracted a squad of sharks. Tom didn't have time to this. He fought the sharks off for a bit, then realized they kept coming. So he tried to go back to the surface for some air. However, the shark was coming in fast. I will point out in this chapter they confused Elko's gender on one page. It's a girl. Next, it's a guy. So for the sake of the name, like I do with Epos, finding it difficult to discover its gender, I choose what it is by the sounding of the name. And for this one, Elko is a dude, in my opinion. Moving on though, like I said, Tom had reached the waves and jumped on Tempest, just as Eleanor shot an arrow at the shark. Tom explained what had happened, and they had to figure out a weakness for Elko. They assumed he was being controlled by Kensa, so going along with this theory, they had to find a way to break the spell. To stop him, Tom remembered how the seaweed changed colour, which caused the fish to attack him. So Tom used his purple jewel to take control of the fish, as it shone purple as well. Going underwater, it soon enough worked, as the fish obeyed him, and Tom spotted Elko's hiding spot, giving the orders to attack. Elko rose up with anger as Tom hopped onto Elko's arm, planning to get the purple light source that was causing Elko, and I quote, mind control. But as Tom was nearer to Elko's chest, now on his shoulder, while Eleanor had him distracted, the plan was put to a halt when Igor was arriving to stop them. Tom felt lower, and Elko, he fell lower, and Elko now realized Tom was there, while Eleanor was having an air battle with Igor. Elko tried so hard to get Tom off, but Tom wasn't one to quit so easy. So Elko thought if he can't shake him off, he'll wash him off under the waterfall, basically a beast shower. Tom caught on what he was planning to do and put together a plan. He noticed some sharp rocks inside the cave. At the same time, he removed his jeweled belt and used it as a harness to secure himself to Elko. It worked. He still remained on Elko despite his many tries to wash him off. Then he called for Eleanor, and she must have some damn good hearing, and she flew in with Igor right behind her. And timing it just right, he tricked Igor into hitting Elko's leg, making him lose his balance and collapse, causing him to get impaled by a sharp shard of rock, which plunged out his purple heart on the tip. Igor retreated, as he felt like a fool, as he tricked into destroying his own mistress's beast, and he knew he was screwed. So it wasn't really mind control. The beast she created are evil. They just needed to be removed of their life support. Speaking of, after returning to the land, the heart had transformed into a purple jewel, then to Sepron's tooth. They then realized if they beat the evil beasts, they would restore Tom's shield tokens. Tempest and Spark had proven great allies, and the new quest had begun. I like how this series is sort of an update version of Series 1. Tom needs to beat 6 beasts to get 6 tokens for his shield, and he meets new animals and a new villain. So it is, if I recommended like a time for, if you're a person going into beast quests and it's already began, like I did, I would say this is a good starting choice for you. Besides the first book, Fern of the Fire Dragon, this is another good choice to get into the Beast Quest series. Elko, as it's restarting after the defeat of Malvel, so another part to restart. Even though all of the Series 1 books are a good place to restart, but this is another good spot for it. Other than that, another thing I want to point out is there's a nice little reference to Power Rangers right there, with the evil sorceress using clay figurines to make monsters, so it's got like that Season 1 Power Ranger vibe right there. And, Tom's Tom's still a strong, awesome hero. I love that. He's a bit more calmer now. This quest is like an outlet for him. He's getting back into the zone. He's trying to pull himself back together. We've got new allies with Tempest and Spark, and they're not as despite the fact that they're not as relatable with Storm and Silver. They're still nice with their wings, you know. And this new Kingdom Handcrawl seems to be a nice one. And I do like the castle, and Igor seems like a good henchman to use, so I've got this nice feeling about this series coming up. So 5 more beasts to go. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. Elko, the Lord of the Sea, is an amazing book, a good start to Series 11. And next time on Beast Quest, we will be doing Tarok, the Blood Spike. See you guys then. Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest, Series 11, Book 2. And this has got to be my least favorite book in Series 11. That's not a bad thing, to just let you know. It's just that the first one I felt was a bit more better than the second. So, I'm going to get to the story and probably explain my reasonings for this when we get through it. Let's do this. Tom and friends were gazing on the shore after fighting Elko. This is a good moment to let our characters breathe. And you know, I know that it happened in other series, but I feel like Series 11 is taking its time more with these moments, which I think is a plus. Anyway, Tom pointed out that Kenta was going to be more of a challenge than Malvel, as scheming as he had come across, and he had no idea how she thinked. Tom and Eleanor looked at the map and realized the next beast was called Tarok, who awaited them in the desert. They called their new allies Tempest and Spark, and after passing some natural lands, saw what appeared to be a storm. But then our heroes realized it wasn't a storm, but a flock of mechanical birds, painted to look like average birdies. They were planning to attack our heroes. Tom and Eleanor tried to evade the mechanical birds, whilst doing they obviously knew who sent them, Kensa. Eventually they injured Tempest's wings, and soon Tom crashed in a field close to the village. Everything went black, and Tom awoke with Eleanor by his side. She explained Eleanor had mended his wounds, while the people had taken care of their animals. However, she had then informed Tom they were prisoners. This is something I was expecting. Normally, our heroes are taken prisoner due to misunderstandings, like in Titus the Horseman, where the villagers for our heroes had done something to one of their people, when realistically it was the beast. Hopefully, this won't be the case. Eleanor explained they also had their weapons, and after some talk about who was to blame for their failure, Tom told Eleanor to check her empty quiver for an arrowhead. Luckily there was one, and she used it to free Tom from his bonds tied to the bed. He tried to leave the room, but it turns out it's outside these walls was a big drop down below. Without wings, you would die. Soon enough, the two winged people came in. A wise woman and a strong warrior. She explained they were charged for murder at the disappearance of their people. They came to the conclusion that that our heroes are responsible, with Igor giving them false information. Tom tried to explain about the beasts and Hensa, but they informed them it was too late, as they had already been sentenced to death. Tom and Eleanor told them who they represented, while the big warrior ignored them. The elder woman listened to them and told she would inform the council. The big warrior told them to stay here until they returned. Mind you, I'm not sure how they were planning to escape, considering you need wings to get out of here, and besides, this is meant to be a prison. Anyway, after a vision from Adoro, he told our heroes to not give up, and he faded. The elder woman was back. No one knew she was back here. She aided our heroes into escaping, as she believed their story. She gave them back their weapons, but was unable to get their animals, so she brought devices that were used by younglings who hadn't grown in their wings yet. She even said if you die, they'll make sure to take care of their animals. They jumped off and appeared, but the gliders didn't appear to be working at first. This chapter makes me wonder about the earlier in the book where they got their new animals from a trader. He tells a story about how the original owner got rid of them as they didn't have any wings, and as we are aware, their wings were just waiting for a right time to be revealed. The problem comes in when Henkral has devices to fix non-winged beings in Henkral. Why don't they just give this ability to all missing wings or damaged wings? The older owner could have maybe have those devices. Maybe Igor, yes, he's evil, but I think he could easily steal some. Heck, replace Tempest's wounded wing with them. I guess it all depends on how successful the gadget is. So far, not so well. Toron and Elena soon managed to get control of their gliders and glide from all the way to the desert. Once landed, they unharnessed and made their way across the desert, avoiding a fierce of mirage that resembled Taladon. Taladon played a trick on Tom. He soon got over it, and they soon found an area full of cacti. Knowing that cacti produced water, they went to the cacti and cut some down, squeezing the water from to feed there first, whilst avoiding the spines. Then suddenly the stand began to shake. At first they thought it was Tarek. Then they assumed it was a man buried under the sand. Tom and Elena freed the person to be a wingman named Cywin. He explained he was one of the people sent looking for his sister. After healing him, he agreed to come with them in hope to find his missing sister. After some walking, Tom wondered where Tarek was, as they were supposed to be right near according to the map. Soon they encountered another cactus. However, it seemed to move straight at them. Tom and friends saw the cactus revealed himself as the beast Tarek. Tom noticed that a light emerged from his chest, so he decided to go for that, as that destroyed Elko. However, that had proven a challenge with Tarek, using his spike body for his advantage. He was able to fight off Tom and push him back, making him lose his sword. However, whilst Tom was looking for his sword, he found Cywin's sister, along with the other missing people. They had been killed by Tarek. Alright, buried to death. Yeah, in some sort of in the sap. Cywin's sister, along with the other missing people, they had been killed by Tarek, buried to death. No doubt, or maybe Tarek gave them a burial. Anyway, Tom saw his sword and planned to go for it, but Tarek was coming in fast. Tom fought Tarek, and after some scuffling, he realized that none of their efforts were working. Even Cywin was no match. Tom soon realized he had to make time to the heart, so he climbed Tarek, where Elena shot arrows. However, Tarek revealed he could shoot sticky sap to stop Elena from firing arrows. With Elena down, Tarek tossed off Tom and went to finish off Elena. Cywin rescued Elena, but they got caught in a gust of wind, and Tom tried to face Tarek. However, in a scuffle, he lost his shield, and when he did hurt Tarek, his sword was nothing but a painful splinter to him. Tom stared Tarek in his eyes, and then Tom was saved as Cywin managed to reclaim his spear. He struck the spear into Tarek's back while the beast collapsed onto Tom, and he raised his sword where Tarek's chest was. Luckily, with his heart now removed, Tarek quickly faded and left the next token, Nanook's bell. Also, the victims who were killed by Tarek were now able to be, it wore off, so they're back alive. The sap, they were able to be free. Cywin's sister and the two other twins are back alive due to the beast dying, I'm guessing. So, the two twins, searching for they offered to, since they're alive now, they offered, if like we're gonna fly you back for what you've done. They offered to fly our heroes and help them explain to the council. So they flew back, and the victims spoke to the council despite half reluctance, and the vote was unanimous. However, Igor taunted our heroes, which was not a best move, as the villagers quickly turned on him. Then Kinsa showed up to also taunt our heroes, just to allow her mean to escape. Tom and Eleanor got their animals back, and were offered to stay for a quick rest while a shield glowed, preparing them for their next quest. And that, guys, is the awesomeness of Tarek the Blood Spike. There are some continuities I found in this book. At one point, the victims were supposedly killed by a Tarek, but then later on it's revealed they're not, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But I think I get it now, because, you know, I assume they were dead because they were buried under, like, this sort of sand, but apparently they were also buried with, like, this. They weren't buried under sand, they weren't suffocating, they were, like, under the sand. They were entrapped by entrapped by the casing of the, you know, stuff, of the casing of the shell of the sap. Now that the beast is dead, so they obviously were able to rise up from their cases and, like, burst out, so they weren't technically dead, even though I assume they were dead because they were under the sand. But anyway, you know, with that being said, it's still a good book. There are some things I really like about it. One thing I like about it is that this beast design is much cooler than the first. The plot of prisoners and stuff, like I said, has been done before in other Beast Quest books, like in Tales of the Horseman. I mean, if they're trying, I know they're trying to have, like, nostalgia for the first series with the tokens, but you don't need to add any more stuff to sort of resemble that, because this series is called The New Age, so maybe try and be your own. So, there are some elements like that put back. And it was nice to go back to the deserts again. We don't do that much. I remember Vipera was desert, but I forgot other stuff that wasn't. Other than that, Igor didn't do much when I thought he caught up. All he did was taunt our heroes. It was nice to have some more winged characters. There was a nice conclusion. It was nice to see the animals get taken out of this, putting our heroes back to the stables of just the two of them. And they had, like, a reason to. There are some stakes with this quest, even if they didn't get the beast back, so, you know, because of the council, you know. So, there were some stakes in this book, but overall I do think that, Elko is a bit better. Because there was more, I had more fun with, like, the building up the first, Series 11, than it does with this dry pacing for the desert. Because there was a lot of pacing, and, like, a lot of short pacing, basically, for this book. And it did drag at certain points. But those good elements do help it out. But I can easily say that Tarek, to me, personally, is the weakest book in Series 11 so far. Anyway, guys, next time we'll be doing Brutus, the Hound of Horror. Till next time, guys. Peace. Hey, guys. Welcome back to Beast Quest. Series 11, Book 3, Brutus, the Hound of Horror. I'm having a time wondering, but I'm having a time deciding if Brutus is the best book in Series 11 so far. Because my previous winner was the first one. I forget his name, Elko? Yeah, Elko. I think what I will say is they're tied. I think I will say they're tied for best book. If I was forced to choose, I would say this one, but, like, because it's not focused on the plot, it can be held on its own separate story. But for the sake of the plot, I will say that I'm tied with Elko and Brutus as the two that are the best so far. Anyway, let's go along with the plot, as we always do, and see how awesome this is. Tom and Eleanor had beaten Tarek, and were planning on leaving. They soon discovered the next beast was called Brutus. they do call back to the plot of the series 11 of explaining to me more clearly now that Storm and Tempest could, now that Storm and Silver couldn't come along due to the lightning storm path being too dangerous for them, despite sounding awkward as it was okay for humans to enter, but it was not okay for animals. It's well enough to bring new animals into the series. Anyway, Harf, who was the gruff warrior from the last book, told them they should stay, get some rest, but Tom stated that their quest was more important and they should head out while they have daylight. Tom and friends took flight on their animals at night, while also explaining to us they managed to reclaim the wing devices from the last beast quest, and now had them stored for usage. It was hard to see at night, but they soon realized that their animals' wings could light up in the dark. After a bit more flying, they decided to land to give their animals a rest. They gathered some berries and took flight next morning, where they soon realized the mist got darker and around them. A woman came flying by and gave them gags to get past the mist. However, Tom wondered he would be able to fight like this. As he flew through the mist, I didn't find it a bit unsure for Tom to simply just receive a product from a seller who just so happens to be around the mist area. I can't see how that would be a bit suspicious, with someone just giving you stuff. Tom and Eleanor entered a market, leaving their animals parked on the outskirts, and after a bit of scuffle around and shopping, they soon saw the trader who had sold them their animals. He was pissed now, in a beaten-up state. He claimed that a horrible hound-like beast attacked him, which attacked his cattle. He said it couldn't be Kensa, as she remained locked in her castle. He went on to say how all these beasts popped out as soon as Tom and Eleanor showed up, and he believed they had magical powers, as they were able to turn the weak Tempest and Sparks into impressive winged creatures. And of course, this worked as the market people turned on to Tom and Eleanor. Oh my god, this plot happens a lot with the Beast Quest, with people thinking it's our heroes who cause the havoc when really it's the Beast. And to make it worse, they used this plot idea in the last book with Tarek. Tom and Eleanor were in another bad situation. I did like that Tom was trying to talk his way out of the situation before resorting to his weapons. However, Igor showed up, and he was looking for someone to fight, one-on-one. The crowd decided Tom would face him, and Eleanor joined the crowd, watching the match. With her weapons at the ready in case the battle grew rough. Tom was having trouble at first, but soon outsmarted Igor and made him fall from his hog. The people captured him, and Igor managed to trick Tom into allowing him to regain his hog. However, Tom refused to let him escape and got him back off the hog before they were out of range. Igor reclaimed his chain and made a run for it. The trader believed that Tom and Eleanor were in allegiance with Igor, and the crowd turned on Tom and Eleanor again, allowing Igor to make an escape. At this moment, for me, Igor is fun to me. He's more fun than Petra was at being a side villain. While she was clearly more deceptive, and she was also to me a whiner. Whereas Igor is clearly based on the original character, Igor, based on the same name. And he's so hammy, he's enjoyable to me, so I like him more. Tom was put in a position where he had to threaten the people to let them go by. Lucky they agreed. Mind you, they had been outnumbered, but oh well. Tom and Eleanor soon realized that this could be a trap by Igor, luring them towards Brutus. They bumped into Tempest and Spark, who seemed to have followed them, and then followed them here, and they used their wings to light through the thick fog they now entered. However, soon enough, a form was coming together. It was Brutus. Tempest and Spark flew back, and Tom noticed the claws to resemble Epos's talons. He believed this was the beast that contained her blood and her token, but how would he pull out Brutus's heart? Tom and Eleanor had tried to fight Brutus, but of course their attacks didn't seem to be doing anything. Then Tom decided if they could hurt him. Tom tricked Brutus into attacking him in his rage state. Brutus reverted back to his solid form, and it allowed Tom to plunge his sword in for a stab. However, it didn't finish off Brutus, as he quickly reverted to a mist. Then Brutus called in the entire dogs from the town as he took control of them. Tom and Eleanor scared them off, but with some fire arrows, and then realized they could also use this method on Brutus. However, Brutus dodged, but did get hit. However, the wound was clearly not strong enough. They needed a greater source of fire. Then Tom remembered the furnace in the town, which they meant had, they meant they had to take a risk into bringing Brutus towards the town where the people were. Tom and Eleanor fended off the dog pack, which was still there with some more fire arrows, while Tom and Eleanor went on a high rock to allow their animals to pick them up. They then instructed them to go to town, and it worked as they lured Brutus straight towards the town. The villagers screamed, but they had reached the forge, and Tom rushed inside with Brutus mad with rage for escaping his dog pack. Tom had caused Brutus's head to be stuck inside the door frame of the forge, while Eleanor shot fire arrows at his neck. Tom encouraged to continue as he planned to trick him into letting him into the furnace. Do its worst on Brutus. Mind you, wouldn't this cause Tom himself to be hurt too? Oh well, maybe he already knew that for the good of the kingdom, because he's trying to get the beast pushed into the furnace, but wouldn't that he be caught in the crossfire? But oh well. However, Brutus picked up what he was trying to do, what was going on, and managed to escape, breaking free from the forge, sending Ellen off sparking crashing down below, while Tom had been stuck under a beam while the furnace was getting hotter. Tom was trapped while he just barely was able to watch Eleanor fight Brutus. She had the upper hand with greater speed, however he knew it would only be a matter of time before Brutus would have her. Then he remembered his shadow power on his jeweled belt. He separated his shadow from his body and told it to go and pick up the shadow of a sword and help Eleanor, as Tom was trapped under a beam. The shadow struck Brutus, but while they were fighting, Tom was rethinking his plan. He knew it would be better if he was free. Tom asked his shadow to return to him. With his return, he was able to slip under the beam. However, being near the furnace so long, he had taken its toll on Tom, as he felt he was going to pass out, and now it was not a good time. At this moment, the book had turned me around and invested. Tom, as he fell, nudged a bucket of water, and which splashed down on him, which gave him his energy back. Tom called out to Brutus and taunted the beast, which I really liked. Tom was so confident in this beast's weakness, he easily dodged Brutus, allowing him to be consumed by the flames. However, the spell on the dogs had not been broken. They fought off the dogs until Brutus was completely gone. It worked, and Tom saw the yellow jewel, which was Brutus's heart and Epos' talon. I realize now why fire was his weakness, as it was from the flame bird, Epos. I found it shocking that the jewel didn't become a token, but the token and the jewel are both separate pieces. Anyway, the destruction in the forge caused all the beams to break. It was coming down on our heroes, and they had to leave. Tempest flew in, rescued our heroes just in time, landing where the people were, and they had seen enough to believe Tom and Eleanor were on their side. The trader apologized for his suspicions, and he offered them food and water. They told the people to investigate Kenta's castle, and our heroes took flight, and Tom vowed to save Henkrau. Overall, this is a very good book. It has a rough start, but as soon as you get to the good stuff, it is worth the wait. It's a nice, gentle story. In the end of the day, one that you could easily pass by. And I had a good time. So yeah, that's why I put, which is the same feeling I had with Elko. So based on that, that's why they're tied. So Brutus is a great book that does rival Elko in its creative ability, far better than Tarek did. Anyway guys, this has been my Beast Quest review on Brutus, and next time on Beast Quest Reviews, we will be doing the ultimate burning fire that is Flamar, the Scorched Blaze. I'm looking forward to that one. Till then guys, peace. Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest, Series 11, Book 4, Flamar, the Scorched Blaze. And, yeah, we've tackled lots of beasts, but this is the fourth one in the Beast Quest of Series 11. So I'm looking forward to do this one. And let's go over the story, and I'll tell you my overall rankings of what this book lies in Series 11. Tom and Eleanor land their animals, and we get a refresh on Series 11. This allowed me to figure out that Kensa also used the lightning path, which was the transport spell, but Tom and Eleanor also used. Nat Adro didn't want to use it, be as bad as Kensa, but they had no choice and all that. The next beast's name is revealed as Flamar. Our heroes took flight and saw a silhouette. First they assumed it was Flamar when they realized it was just a statue. Something also I wanted to bring up is the people go and investigate Kensa's castle as Tom requested they do, as she is the villain causing trouble. Finally, which is in the last book by the way, finally I would want to say after Doomskull I've noticed a change on the design of the beasts. They seem more grotesque and more expressive, which I like. Both are good. The old art style was a classic, but these new looks are very cool as well. My favorite beast design is in this series has got to be Flamar. She just looks amazing with the fiery appearance, and I'm hoping she's better than Helion was. Tom and Eleanor decided to land and feed their animals, which I'm happy. Tom did. You can tell he's growing wiser by each book, and Eleanor is playing a big part in that. Soon enough, as Tom was studying the statue and seeing a message, something like a legend or a prophecy, however, 5 winged warriors came to the deserted town, and they planned to question our heroes. They agreed to come in peace as long as their animals were fed. It was agreed, and they took them to where the leader, Jaffrey, and an elder who didn't seem bothered on who they were, nor when they brought up Kensa at all did it convince him to tell his men to get rid of them. Tom and Eleanor were forced to leave, and they flew off with people saying if they saw them again they wouldn't be so nice. However, as they were flying away, they noticed a boy, and it was Nema. He said that a boy called Abba he was held trapped on an island where the next beast was, Flamar. He also explained that Jaffrey was Abba's uncle, and he made a deal with Flamar, as Flamar is one of the very few beasts who can speak English. Tom asked Nema to watch their animals while they would sneakily head back into town, get inside the workshop to see what Jaffrey was up to. After some stealth, using the purple jewel to heat the lock, they discovered that Jaffrey was building a beast-sized lightning staff, the same kind that Tom and Eleanor used to enter the kingdom. Tom would say what Flamar wanted, a staff to transport herself into Avantia. Mind you, we don't see how much power this staff holds. It could be used to teleport the others to other beasts as well. However, Joffrey had caught them and had them at gunpoint, firing his crossbow. This is where I'm started to get some attention. Once again, I assumed this plot was going to be like people believe they're responsible for what they did to their leader's child, when really it's the beast. However, this time the people are acting bad to protect Jaffrey until he finishes work on the staff. They probably just want they want the kid back as much as Jaffrey does, and it's more a matter of blackmail right now. Tom quickly countered using his shield and disarmed Jaffrey. Then he spilled the beans that he befriended Kensa when she arrived in Henkral, but soon she had ulterior motives. Jaffrey soon met Igor, and he was offered a large sum of money to continue his work, an offer he couldn't refuse. Tom insisted they could save his nephew from Flamar. All hope was not lost. However, Prentice came back with his men, with Nema running to warn them. They made it to the roof, and Tom and Eleanor leaped for their lives. So I was close. It wasn't Flamar herself, but Kensa using money to bribe this guy to make a spear for her to transport her beasts to Avantia when they're done with Henkral. So I was close. Tom and Eleanor managed to escape. I'm guessing Nema was able to stay behind as he was not a stranger. Anyway, they managed to lose Prentice and his squadron and arrived at Flamar's lair, or island I guess. After some searching, Spark picked up Abba's scent. Despite all this lava and smoke, the boy's scent stuck out like a sore thumb and led them straight to Abba. However, one of his wings were broken and the other was badly limping. Then Flamar showed up, with an appearance that resembled Kenta. She was able to speak through Flamar and explain she created this beast in her own image. I'm guessing this could be her personal favorite then, like mine, because I agree. If that's the case, I agree with Kenta. She's the best looking. Tom and Eleanor fought off Flamar after a scuffle and managed to get Abba back to Heronfell and show Prentice and the townsfolk they were on the side of good. However, Tom knew it wouldn't be long before Flamar caught them. Tom was concerned how he could beat Flamar, as her entire body dripped of lava. There was no way of touching her heart. However, the people mentioned their statue was a prophecy. A great warrior would free him from his slumber. Prentice decides to let Tom try by flying him up, pricking his hand and pressing it against the stone. Something I noticed that Kenta said she can communicate through beasts when she wishes to. She also admits that her plan was just to send Flamar to Avantia right now. Not sure why she wants to send one at a time when we see one staff teleport multiple people. Maybe it's harder with beasts, or maybe it's like I said, it's just to do with Flamar being her favorite beast, probably. Moving along, Tom used the power of strength of heart, which gave Tom, which is his chainmail of his golden armor, which gave Tom the belief, and it worked. The stone statue revealed a wicker suit, which seemed destined to fit Tom. He put it on and controlled the stone protector like shadowboxing. It was hard to stop, but he soon managed to reach Flamar's island when he was calling her out. This was an impressive change. I wasn't expecting this to happen. I assumed the statue would come alive, but I had no idea Tom would be controlling it. Tom and Flamar faced one another while Tom go for the first kick. Flamar was faster as she got hold of him, only to have Flamar distracted by Eleanor coming to Tom's aid on Spark. The protector was strong, but turning was slow. Flamar went into hiding as the area they were fighting contained geysers. But Tom thought, what if Flamar was going after the lightning staff? Luckily she wasn't, but I was hoping she did, as that would have been a cool twist. Anyway, Eleanor warned Tom, but it was too late. Flamar grabbed the protector's leg, and Tom flung out the protector, and watched in horror as the protector fell and Flamar came back. Something I noticed that Tom was actually inside the statue. I didn't put it together until now. Secondly, I don't know if it's Kenta or Flamar talking, but I do like her attitude. It's very interesting during the fight. Flamar made her move by releasing deadly gas. However, this only caused it hard for her to see and allowed Tom to re-enter the protector. He got into a struggle with Flamar as he tried to get her heart, but she wasn't having that. But with the encouragement of Eleanor, Tom managed to succeed and claim the heart. However, while Flamar faded away and Kenta bowed, this wasn't over. The lava was rising around the protector, and Tom was stuck. Eleanor came to rescue Tom. However, sparks couldn't seem to reach them. They feared they would die. Tom and Eleanor climbed the statue and used the arm as a bridge to escape the sinking statue, while also claiming the next token, which I was right, it was Furno's token. With Flamar defeated and the protector now sunk, Tempest had returned to give our heroes a ride back to the village. However, after a speech by Geoffrey, Prentice revealed that Igor was there, and Igor informed them that Flamar was a distraction for Kenta to use her magic to take the staff. Now she had it. However, it wasn't a total defeat, as Geoffrey said she would need a jewel to harness the lightning, and Geoffrey wasn't sure if she had one or not. But if she did have one lightning, all she needed was one lightning bolt. Is all it takes. She needed to teleport a beast into Avantia. Geoffrey informed her the jewels come from, which is where our heroes should go next on their quest. And in case Kenta is in the process of getting one, that's where she will go. So that's where our heroes are probably going to go next. Also, something I want to point out was that the twist, as I said before earlier, that that'd be a nice twist that if it was a distraction, and it turns out it actually was. That surprised me off guard. And there was quite a bit in there there were elements in the story that did surprise me, and there was good stuff with the stone statue. Oh yeah, something I want to. This is something I want to bring up. Was in the last book I said that the a token. Oh, I forgot what it was. What was it? It was Brutus. That was it. That didn't. I think it was Brutus, but there was a token before. I think it was the last book, where the beast had had a heart, like and the heroes pulled it out, and it didn't turn into a token. I'm not sure why that was, but anyway, I'm guessing that was something wrong with the writing there, because in Flamar there is a line where they say, like all beasts that they previously fought, all of their hearts turn into the tokens. So I'm guessing that was probably a failed attempt at bad writing. So there are some problems there. But anyway, all kidding aside, I do really love Flamar, the Scorched Blaze. It breaks the mold, because with Elko as the setup, and probably is the second best. Probably is the second best. I don't really know. No, I'd say it's still on tie with Brutus, because Brutus actually had a tiny bit more added to it to be better than Elko. So Elko is a bit behind Brutus, but Brutus is second best. This one right now at the moment for me is the best. Flamar, the Scorched Blaze, with how all the elements were surprising and twisting it around. It twisted me twice. When at the village stuff, when you think about the villages and what's going to happen, and the stuff with the beast and Kenza's plan. She is a smart villain, and the attitude and all that witty little dialogue in and out the story. It did make out to be a great book, and I'm looking forward to see. I mean, because like the villain's plan is being accomplished. We don't know where she's at. She's like very close to achieving her goal, and that makes her one of the more successful villains in Beast Quest series, in my mind. So I'm really interested to see more from her, and could she be better than Velma? Who knows? But I'm really looking to see what's coming up ahead. So with that being said, next time we'll be doing Serpio, the Slithering Shadow. Till then, guys, peace. Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest, Series 11, Book 5, Serpio, the Slithering Shadow. And it's been a while since I've done Beast Quest, but here we are, we're back into it again. I always like to give it a nice bigger gap of time to allow me to breathe onto other stuff. But here we are again with Beast Quest, so let's get over this book. Tom and Eleanor were fearing the worst. After Kenza had tricked them and now possessed the lightning staff, with it she could teleport her remaining beasts into Avantia when she was ready to. However, Joffrey, the village elder, pointed out that it was hard to find a jewel that was big. Hence, he doubted Kenza had one. Tom was worried. What if she did? Then their quest would be over. Joffrey explained the jewels come from the northern mountains, and of course Tom's shield map indicated the next beast was located in that area, and was called Serpio. This kind of lightened our hero's spirits, as they knew if a beast was near that area, the chances were higher of Kenza not yet having the jewel. Not wanting to waste any time, they called in their winged animals and flew off. However, they had to get past one of Kenza's little magic obstacles, a storm. Tom and friends made it past the storm, but soon realized the true danger when the weather changed and got colder. Despite Tom using all his bell from Nanook, it wasn't powerful enough to protect them all. They landed in a near forest in the northern cold lands and headed to enter the woods. They were planning to look for villagers, but instead came across desperate people looking for goods to steal. Tom and Eleanor tried to retreat, but their animals were caught in the traps, and a bit of running soon. Both Tom and Eleanor were captured as well. There was nothing they could do. They were at their mercy. This chapter intrigued me with the tense situation they were in. Tom and Eleanor were hung up, and soon enough the savage warriors came. Despite our heroes' efforts of escaping, Eleanor had fallen, and now they had her in their clutches. Their leader came forth, and Tom bargained if they let Eleanor go, he'd come down. Tom jumped down and first surprised me. He was willing to surrender his jeweled belt for the freedom of his friends. However, as soon as they got it, Tom was listening onto their conversation, just enough to know that these jewels on the belt were too small and they believed they'd be worth nothing. They went on to say of a huge jewel called the Jewel of Journeys. Tom's assumed this was the jewel Kensa was after to put in her lightning staff. Tom butted and made a bargain. While reattaching his belt, he explained if he got them the Jewel of Journeys, they would return his companions as long as they destroyed the jewel once they got it. The agreement was made, and Tom asked if Eleanor could accompany him, but they refused, as that was not part of their bargaining, and gave him a guide to the mines, a young boy called Owen. As they approached the mine, Owen explained about their last visitor, Idris, had never returned, and Odwin they went to explain that about a creature was deep inside there, stopping anyone from finding the jewel. This tells that Kensa doesn't have the jewel, otherwise she'd try to get another magical artifact. Mind you, if she doesn't have the jewel, I wouldn't let the miners find the jewel without them knowing it. Serpio is there, and then when they get attacked, boom, you got it, you know what I mean? Tom knew this creature was the next beast, Serpio, and soon Oswin had led Tom to the entrance of the mine, a small tight tunnel. Once they were both down, Tom wondered how he could manage without the aid of his allies to fight this beast. After some travelling, they came across a shedded skin from the snake-like creature. It was huge, and Tom put it together that Serpio was a kind of snake-like beast, which, mind you, the clue was in the name, but still it reminded me of the Chamber of Secrets, you know. After some travelling, they came across Iris, and Owen cried. He was dead in ice. As Tom tried to free Iris, they alerted Serpio, who appeared and faced Tom. Tom fought Serpio off, and after a scuffle, the beast retreated. Tom assumed this beast had stolen blood from Arcta, the mountain giant, hence the one eye. He could prove a challenge with his slimy body. Then Tom realized Serpio was trying to push him in. Tom managed to escape, while also discovering the beast possessed a powerful venom which could freeze anything in ice. In an instant, Medusa reference obviously, Tom put together that Idris was a victim of Serpio's venom, and he had to find a way around it. The answer came to him when he found the shed skin of Serpio. He assumed it would protect him, as in the duel with Serpio it didn't seem to affect back then. He came across the Jewel of Journeys only when he was backed up by Serpio and appeared, and there was nowhere to run. Tom used the cloak to protect him from Serpio's acid breath. It worked, and Tom used the power of the golden boots to escape, whilst also slashing Serpio's eye. This caused the beast to roar and causing a shower of rocks to topple on him. Tom knew Serpio wasn't dead, he was trapped, and it wouldn't be long before he was free. He ran back to Owen and helped him free his brother, Idris, who was free, and they quickly made a run outside. Tom told them to let the townspeople to release Eleanor so she could help them defeat Serpio. The first questioned it, but they soon understood and ran back to the village. Tom's plan was to wait for Eleanor, then take out Serpio with her aid. However, Serpio had already broken free. Tom and Serpio faced each other, with Tom now seeing where Serpio's heart was on the underside of his tail. He planned to use the trees to go around and go for the gemstone before Serpio could figure out his plan. However, it proved more a challenge than he thought, as Serpio used his icy breath to slip his balance and then began chopping down the trees with his mouth. Soon enough, a large branch piled on Tom, trapping him under it, and Serpio closed in on Tom. Eleanor had finally arrived and rescued Tom, giving him back his sword. Tom told Eleanor of Serpio's ice breath and his plan. While she distracted Serpio, he would go for Serpio's heart, directed near his tail. However, the plan soon turned on Tom, as it turned out that Serpio's heart was also a second eye, no doubt of means of protecting Serpio's life force. Eleanor was in danger, but Tom fought quickly. He decided to fake being defeated. Then it worked. Serpio called his body around him, and waiting for just the right moment, Tom slashed off Serpio's tail, ending another beast and reclaiming another token, Arcta's eagle feather. Serpio had been defeated. Tom and Eleanor had beaten another beast and brought the Jewel of Journeys back to the people, only to have the people desperately take it off our heroes. Then Kensa arrived on a mechanical vulture to claim the jewel for her plans. It was revealed that the people were aiding Kensa as she made a deal with them. If they helped her, she would spare their town. But to Tom, it would seem they had no idea what true danger they were in for. Tom tried to stop Kensa, but was soon flung off by Igor, while Eleanor was held back by the people. Kensa had escaped, and it wouldn't be long now before she would send her last beast into Avantia. It was only until the start of this chapter that I did piece it all together. Overall, this has been, you can tell by all that, it is a very engaging plot, because you got, this book takes a risk by, this is probably one of the first rare books, not counting specials, that Eleanor is held back throughout the story. I mean, you could argue that, in the first book of Beast Quest that, she was in it as well, but, this is like the first time where Eleanor is like barely in the book at all till the very finale, and she's not aware of what the beast is capable of, and it's up for Tom to sort of fill her in. It gave Tom an interesting synopsis to sort of get out of, and I do like the fact that they are trying new things with these books, so that makes it stick out for me. And the twist of they took this generic plot of desperate villagers, what they've done before in many Beast Quests, and turn it into something useful as they're aiding the enemy. Similar to what they did the last book with Jaffrey, only this time it's the entire town of how they're affecting it, which makes Kensa a very interesting villain, and I'm really starting to like her. I'm really starting to like Kensa as a villain. She's very deceptive, and that makes her, and she's very close to achieving her goal of sending a beast to Avantia to avenge, that. So she's very close. She's arguably, I might say she's probably the best villain, because she's the closest to achieving her goals as a villain. So she could possibly be my favourite by now, and I'm really excited to see how this all comes to a climactic finale for the last book of Series 11. So overall, I want to give where I rank this book. I'm gonna say first of all I was gonna say it would be a tie to Flamar, but I'm actually gonna say it's a bit better. So that Serpio is my favourite book of Series 11 so far, and that is just by a slight push because Serpio does a few extra things new that I like about it to make it better, and that is awesome. So there's just one more book to do, and that book would be Toron, the Pounding Fury. Till next time, guys. Peace. Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest, Series 11, Book 6, Toron, the Pounding Fury. And I've finally done Beast Quest Series 11, and here is Toron. And like always, we're going to go over the story, and I'll give over my overall thoughts on this book and where I rank it with the other 5. So let's get on with this. Tom and Eleanor had flown their animals down, and like all books, we get a refresh on the plot. Soon enough, our heroes land and are already aware of the name of the last beast's name, Toron. I'm guessing they looked at the shield without telling us, or it was mentioned in the last book and I slipped past it. Anyway, Tom wanted to get his quest over with to prove that he could make his father proud. He waited for the final beast to make its move. Tom must have some good prediction, either that or the armors / dual powers could sense this. Tom and Anna were awaiting the next beast, Toron, when Sparks smelt a presence. It was a wounded elder woman who saw that Eleanor had a connection with healing. Eleanor explained she learned healing from her grandmother, and Tom was thinking of the lines of his quest, and they had no time for this delay. However, Tom did realize when a person is in danger, there is a strong chance the beast is involved. He questioned her about the accident involving her buffalo cattle being scared off. Eleanor insisted they take her home. Tom reluctantly agreed and hoped he could get the answers he sought, and prayed this did distract them from he prayed that it didn't distract them from their mission too far. As you can tell, Tom's arc of putting the quest first has come back, and it's nice to always see. Beast Quest does have a recurring theme of using its same plot development, but by this point I've gotten used to it, because we all need to be reminded of our lessons once in a while, and every time they bring it back up, I think it helps flesh out Tom even more as a character. Same goes with Eleanor. Tom and Eleanor were escorting the elder lady, referred to as Burma, back to her hut, while Tom was asking quick-firing questions to gain more information on the beast. It got to a point where he believed that Derma could also be a spy for Kensa. That would be a cool twist. Eleanor felt upset with how Tom was treating the wounded elder, and when they finally reached her hut and prepared a meal of soup, Eleanor took out her frustration on Tom, telling her, what does he think he's doing, trying to save the kingdom, or just doing this for the glory? Tom explains about trying to live up to his father's legacy, but Eleanor says Taladon was a great warrior, but he was also a honourable, kind man, which was something Tom was losing. He realized this and soon apologized to Eleanor. Mind you, he should be also apologizing to Derma, but oh well. They finished their meal and soon heard the sound of thunder and a big bolt of lightning. A thought crossed their mind, and where there's thunder, there will also be lightning, you know. Tom and Eleanor entered the hut, left the hut and prepared to fly towards the storm, as there was normally a sign of an obstacle to aid the beast. Derma told them of the beast's magical heart to remind the people who haven't been keeping up with the plot. Soon enough, our heroes rode into the storm, only to be soonly pushed back. The storm was too strong, but it got worse as they encountered Toron. Despite his bulk, he proved to be very fast, easily breaking Eleanor's arrows. After a scuffle, he prepared to retreat. I'm guessing he was aware he was the last beast, and he knew he had to be alive for Kensa's plan to work. Tom and Eleanor wanted to follow, but Tempest had the strength to fly through the storm. Soon enough, our heroes realized that Toron was heading to Derma's house. So they finally found the beast. Tom took Tempest and raced after Toron to stop him from harming Derma. They got into a scuffle, but Toron had the upper hand. Eleanor arrived, and he told her the fighting was going poorly, but then Toron wanted to challenge Tom to a jousting duel. Tom was eager to accept this. After all, his father died in a jousting match with the final knight from the last series. It seemed he wanted to show himself he could make his father proud. I'm guessing, however, when Tom charged at him, he actually did something I would try. He turned his sword sideways while facing up to it to hit Toron's forked sword. However, it backfired and Tom was flung off from Tempest. However, he did manage to get on Toron without knowledge, so he tried to use the power of the red jewels to communicate with Toron. Tom tried to convince Toron was useless to Kensa's plans. However, soon enough, Igor showed up with the now finished lightning staff. Toron made a grab for it, and Tom had to stop him. He made a final chance to go for the heart, but Igor alerted Toron of this and planned to stab Tom with his sword, only to have Tom dodge the blade and let Toron impale himself. With the final beast dead, Tom fell and into some sticky mud. He couldn't move, just as the giant lightning staff was falling his way. Of course, he dodged it, and Tom gathered the final token from the remains of Toron. As Igor informed them, it wasn't over. Kensa still has her own personal lightning staff, and she will be heading to Avantia when he informs her of this news. Of course, our heroes had to put a stop to Kensa before she could prepare her plan all over again. They followed Igor and broke away. They noticed a village and went down to come up with a plan. They met the old trader who originally sold them their animals. He told them they weren't planning to spy on Kensa, as she had injured one of their men. Tom knew the time had come. They had to get the lightning staff to get home, which meant it was time to say goodbye to Tempest and Spark. They gave them to Peter, the trader, and they denied no money return. 3 lives was payment enough. Tom and Eleanor noticed there was no door, so they had to do it the hard way and climb. It was a challenge, but they got there in the end. They spied on Kensa, and she revealed if she couldn't send her beasts, she would send herself, but she wouldn't go alone. She would have someone to aid her, and it wasn't Igor. Tom and Eleanor, looking concerned, gave a look at each other, but then Igor spotted them. Kensa sent Igor after them while she made a retreat to prepare her lightning staff, her for the lightning path. Tom and Eleanor scuffled off Igor and managed to pursue Kenta to the roof. She was about to leave when our heroes leapt onto Kenta's cloak as the three of them made their departure. They arrived in King Hugo's castle, and Tom held Kenta as his prisoner. However, when Tom told her she would be joining the dungeon with Serpio, she just laughed and faded away. Kenta had escaped, and our heroes had to warn King Hugo. At this point, the upcoming tension, it really keeps me on my toes. Tom and Eleanor were on their way to the throne room when they noticed an explosion. Kenta had freed Serpio from the dungeon. From their interactions with one another, it seemed they were all friends. Serpio called for his flying ship and his crew of scurvy pirates. Despite our heroes' efforts, Kenta and Serpio had escaped, and that's when Adoro and the king showed up. Tom felt bad as he believed he had failed his first quest as Master of the Beasts, but Eleanor reminded him that he did save Henkra from Kenta's beasts. More bad luck came their way as a wizard came to arrest Adoro for using dark magic, which was the lightning path which sent our heroes into Henkra. He was teleported away, but despite all this, Tom wasn't going to allow Kenta and Serpio to take Apantia. Their old animals, Storm and Silver, returned, and they rode off on a new quest. Something I didn't like was that our heroes said that our old animals, we can do anything, or something along those lines, which to me is dissing Tempest and Spark. I know they didn't have much, but still. Second, it would seem Serpio's ship is mended from the last time we saw it being blasted by Adoro. It's either his crew rebuilt it, which I doubt, so I'm more likely Kenta used her magic as a sorceress to make another ship for the Pirate King. As their friends, you know. But there it is. That's the overall plot of Toron, the Pounding Fury. Easily, I have to say, it's the best book of Series 11. And it's another one of those simplistic ones where you're like, oh, each time you have a book, it gets better and better. And this is the case here. With the ultimate ending of Kenta having an ally, and we don't know who it is. I was surprised that it was Serpio. It was a nice way to bring a villain back. Now here's the thing. It says like earlier on she has like a backup plan, and when they capture him, Tom reminds her they have Serpio, and then she says, oh, I can use him. Or unless she forgot, and you know what I mean? So, and basically she probably forgot, and then reminded herself, oh, I'm here to free Serpio. So, we've got two, so basically we have two major villains teaming up finally for our first time in the Beast Quest series, and I'm guessing that's going to be next time, and I'm really looking forward to see how it's going to be. And the title of the next series is called The Darkest Hour, so it's got a title like that, I'm really hoping it's going to be good. And yeah, so I rank Toron as the best book in Series 11. Easily, if you get past all the books, it's a worthy, good weight. If you're expecting much beast action, you get a decent amount of it, and you get some decent development for Tom. So overall, it's a decent book and a good read. Easily the best one of Series 11. And next time on Beast Quest, we'll be doing none other than Series 12, The Darkest Hour, and starting off with Solak, Scourge of the Sea.